Welcome to the Fear and Greed Afternoon Report for Tuesday, the 8th of March, 2022. I'm Sean Aylmer. Every afternoon, we bring you the 5 news items that you need to know about. Let's jump into it. Story number 1 is markets. The S&P ASX 200 finished today down 0.8% to 6,980 points. The energy companies and materials stocks led the market lower on the back of some relief in oil, coal and iron ore prices. News that Germany and the United Kingdom aren't fans of cutting the supply of oil from Russia was enough to send crude prices lower, and other commodities followed. Rio Tinto and Fortescue Metals both fell more than 4%, while BHP was off 3%. Oil and gas giants Woodside and Santos both dropped more than 3.5%. BlueScope Steel was the worst performer, down 8.5%, while miner South32 was off 6%. The retailers were among the best performers, with Woolworths up 3.4% and Coles 2% higher. CSL closed nearly 3% higher. There were reports that gold digger St Barbara was the potential acquisition target that helped push its share price up almost 11%. Story number 2 is about the dramatic escalation in the flood situation in Sydney. There were more than 50 evacuation warnings in Sydney and along the south coast in Illawarra in New South Wales today, including one impacting 60,000 people living along the Georges River in Sydney's west. At least 2 people died in the city today, and the New South Wales State Emergency Service said it had received thousands of calls for help. Along the mid-north coast, residents of Kempsey have been urged to evacuate, while there's been landslides in the Blue Mountains and other parts of Sydney. The Blue Mountains has been declared a natural disaster area. The Bureau of Meteorology said there's still more rain on the way. Story number 3, it's International Women's Day, and there were plenty of events across the country. The very impressive Samantha Mostyn, who runs Chief Executive Women, said inaccessibility of childcare is one of the key factors holding women back. Expert 360 Chief Executive Bridget Loudon, who also sits on the Telstra board, said just over 50% of GDP is unpaid care work, which is overwhelmingly carried out by women. And Christine Holgate, the CEO of Toll Holdings and former boss of Australia Post, said employers could act by paying women super when they take extended breaks for childcare or personal care or domestic violence. Story number 4. Business conditions and confidence rose last month as the pandemic eased, according to the latest National Australia Bank monthly business survey. Conditions bounced back from a fall in January, reflecting a strong rise in the employment index and improvements in trading and profitability. Confidence jumped sharply across all industries and most states, though it did fall in Western Australia and Tasmania. In Western Australia, the planned border reopening was delayed. That probably triggered that weak performance. Business confidence is critical to economic growth because businesses invest and that creates jobs and growth. The survey was taken ahead of the war in Ukraine and surging commodity prices, so we'll have to wait a month or so to see how that plays out among businesses. And finally, story number 5 is about the US market and big numbers. The S&P 500 closed down 2.7% this morning on the back of those rising commodity prices. That's about $1 trillion worth of wealth wiped off the exchange. In Aussie dollars, it's about $1.35 trillion. Since the start of the year, Wall Street is down nearly 12%, or about $4.8 trillion. In local currency, that's about 6.5 trillion Aussie dollars. Mostly that's because of expectations that interest rates will rise in the world's biggest economy starting next week. Keep in mind, Wall Street has actually outperformed European and most Asian markets, though Australia has done better. Big numbers. That's it for the afternoon report for Tuesday, the 8th of March, 2022. Don't forget to hit follow on the podcast and find Fear and Greed on LinkedIn, Twitter and Facebook. Join Michael Thompson and I tomorrow morning, the Wednesday Fast 5 by Fear and Greed. I'm Sean Aylmer. Enjoy your evening.